The dominant story on our papers this morning is obviously the conversation between federal government and Labour and the promises made by the government with regards to this address when the president addressed the nation, talking about the wage, well, creating a wage increment, so to speak, not the provisional. It is just a provisional wage increment for the time being of 6 months. And Labour has gone ahead to say, okay, they are not okay with the 25,000 naira. They want 35,000 naira. And that as against 6 months, they want this to go on until there is a minimum wage agreed upon. That is what they are saying from the conversation with government. And they also talked about government showing commitment to fast track the provision of CNG buses, that's the compressed natural gas buses, to ease public transportation, because we know that even despite this increment, if people still have to pay so much for transport fares, it's going to erode, whatever increments has been made. And then they went ahead to have a conversation with regards to the waiver of taxes on diesel for the next 6 months, and government has extended 25,000 naira to about 50 million households, increasing those in the social safety net by 50 million as it is, and that has been greeted by diverse reactions. Yes, we know that Labour is going to have a National Executive Council meeting today to decide if it is going to go ahead with the planned strike or not, based on the provisions made by the federal government on what it can do to cushion the effect of the fuel removal of fuel subsidy. But it is left to be seen what is coming out, whether Labour will go ahead or not. There are those who are saying Labour will not go on strike anymore. There are those who are confident that Labour will not go on strike anymore because they say they have understood that this is the way of Labour. They come talk tough, then they meet last minute with government, and then they just come out to tell you that they are no longer going off strike. But there are also others who are saying, well, let's just give Labour the benefit of the doubt this time around. Maybe they will go on with their planned strike.
Well, like Joe Ajeru said yesterday, it is not, at a meeting like this that you will hear us giving the decision as to whether we continue with our move to embark on strike. We have to go back to our constituents, so to speak. We have to go back to base, to convey, the position of government amidst, hope that this channel of communication will continue, because, that is crucial, and that is one of the standpoints of Labour to embark, to take this latest decision. It's saying if government had been forthcoming over the while, this is not the first meeting. From day one of the Tinubu administration, Labour had, come in talking tough, as you rightly said. So this is not the first time, and it's not the first time Labour will be hinting about, strike or a move in this direction. And in night two, it is called off. But the big question now is, Labour is asking for a revised minimum wage, and government is saying it can only do so much. The 35,000, 25, it says, papers are saying that it has now been increased to 35. They've been able to get that commitment from the federal government, and we heard that Femi Gbajabiamila, of the presidency, the chief of staff, that is, was reported as saying that they had gone back to meet the president on his 25,000 naira statement in his presidential address, and that it had now been revised to 35 after consultations with Labour. So, and the big question out there is, what about the private sector? Because
absolutely, because some have said, I remember having an interview where the matter was, okay, you're just fighting for federal government workers, how about those in the private sector? And the guest kept insisting, no, it is not just about the private sector. But as it is, the reaction we are getting out there is that this is just about the federal government workers. We are not considering the private workers. How are they going to benefit from all of these measures being put in place by government to cushion the effect? Because everyone, as it is, whether you are in the public or private, everyone is feeling the pinch. And with these increments, we know how it is. The prices of goods and services will also increase at the end of the day. Are you saying that the private sector will not feel the impact, or they go to the shops and they are told, I'm a private government worker, I did not get increments, so you have to sell to me at a particular price. Now, that is the issue right now for those in the private sector. How are they going to benefit from this? It is good that we're seeing governments making the statement, but how are we spreading the nets to get every other person's in? In fact, we had a conversation yesterday where someone was saying, how about those who are retired? How much are their pensions? So are we also looking at them? What happens to these persons? Where are they in the scheme of things? Because they too go to the market. They do not receive as much when it comes to pension. Who is speaking for them?
We're speaking for all this critical sector. We're speaking for the non-formal sector, who are also, holding their own despite the challenges, to running businesses, small-scale business owners, medium-scale business owners, who is speaking for all these, crucial members of, of these constituencies. And, these are issues. And, a key part of the President's Independence Day speech was also that, yes, this, monetary reprieve, this reprieve, so to speak, will be for federal government civil servants. And he also, continued the conversation regarding some form of relief packages have been sent to state governments.
Yes,
and so they would also need to take it further. There's an infrastructure fund that the President said will be made available to state governments.
Yes, the small and medium-scale businesses.
In addition to what has already been done. But, how this will also transcend to the private sectors, it remains to be seen. And it is hoped that, all the other, promises that have been made, the issue of the CNG buses, the President talked about that, procurement problem. That has always been a major snag. But we hope that, federal government can, scale this, because there's been a lot of talk about the CNG buses. Nigerians want to see them. If not for anything, out of curiosity, let us even see this CNG buses, operating.
Like I mentioned yesterday, as we wrap up this conversation, like I mentioned yesterday, if government could just tell Nigerians the bottlenecks it is, witnessing in the process of procurement, just as a way of encouraging transparency and opening communications between the people and government, so people can trust that, yes, they are doing something, is key as it is. Tell the people what the bottlenecks are so they understand.
And now with this expose, so to speak, by the President on the procurement problems, at least that has, come out, and we hope that this bottlenecks will be resolved.
Right. We'll